So joining me now are my good friend, former Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, 2 terms, and I thought could have been the next governor of Virginia. That still may happen one day. Former Lieutenant Governor of the Republican Bill Bollings of the Main Street Project. Lieutenant Governor, great to have you with us.
Hey, John, good morning. Good to be back with you. I've enjoyed our conversations from time to time. Hope we can resume those in the future.
Well, we have to do that, and I tell you what, I will go to the grave believing that had you been the nominee, you would have been elected governor of Virginia. So,
well, it reminds me of that old quote of Dandy Don Meredith, the former quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. He said one time, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, every day would be Christmas. And I guess that was his way of saying no need dwelling on the past.
Governor McAuliffe has tapped yourself and former Democratic U.S. Congressman Rick Boucher as part of an ethics reform commission. Can you share with our audience what your thinking is on that?
Well, yeah, I think the governor actually pulled together a pretty good commission. It is truly a bipartisan commission. There are probably 2 or 3 very notable Republicans on the commission, 2 or 3 very notable Democrats, and a couple of people who probably don't have any, quote, party affiliation. So I think first of all, I think he did a good job pulling together a bipartisan group to try to do a more detailed drill down in what we need to do further to strengthen Virginia's ethics laws, our gift receipt laws, our gift disclosure laws, our other financial disclosure laws. I think that'll be the focus of this commission through the balance of 2014 as we head into the 2015 legislative session. But beyond that, there are a number of other issues that the governor has asked us to look at that deal with what he called integrity in government, things like bipartisan redistricting, bipartisan merit-based judicial selection, issues like that, campaign finance reform potentially. So those are issues I think we may look at probably in 2015. But the immediate focus here in the next couple of months is going to be on trying to tighten and strengthen some of the ethics laws and loopholes in some of those laws that we've all seen played out far too publicly over the course of the past many months.
In all due respect, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, your colleague, Senate Minority Leader Dick Saslaw, who's a regular on our show, is fond of saying that this is all nonsense. At the end of the day, he says you can't legislate ethical behavior. How do you respond to that?
Well, I disagree with that. You can't legislate good choices. The people are going to make bad choices from time to time. There's no question about that. But there's a lot I think that we can do to tighten up the types of gifts that people can receive, the amounts of gifts that people can receive. I think we'll have a conversation about whether or not elected officials should be able to receive any type of gifts at all, or if so, what types of gifts and up to what value. I think there's a lot more that can be done to require more disclosure of those gifts, closing some of the loopholes about what may constitute, for example, personal gifts as opposed to what one might see as gifts from political donors or supporters or people that are trying to influence the actions of state government. I think there's a lot more we can do to require disclosure of stock holdings and other financial investments or loans that could influence an elected official's actions. Look, this is an area historically in Virginia, we've said this is an area where our approach is full disclosure. Anyone can accept a gift, but it requires full disclosure. But unfortunately, John, what I think we've seen over the last year or so is that full disclosure didn't mean full disclosure.
Right.
There were a lot of loopholes that enabled people to avoid full disclosure. But I don't think anyone ever frankly contemplated that some of this, gift receipt stuff would go to the degree that it apparently went to. So, when that happens, you have to rein it in, and it's not enough to stand back and say, well, we don't have a problem, there's nothing we can do to change this. We clearly have a problem. The Center for Integrity and Public Policy gives Virginia an F when it comes to these types of issues. There are clearly things we can do to make it better. So I don't disagree with Senator Sasslaw from the standpoint that people are going to make bad choices. There's nothing you can do to make people make good choices, but you can certainly have an environment that is a lot more conducive to limiting those bad choices than the environment that we have right now does.
Mr. Lieutenant Governor, every time there seems to be a call for ethics reform, the leadership on both sides of the aisle in the General Assembly doesn't seem to be too enthusiastic over it. Why?
Well, because they don't want to give up their stuff. I mean, I think it's kind of that simple. If you're on the receiving end of some of these gifts and things that are permitted under current law, it's tough to draw a line in the sand and say, well, we can't do that anymore. So, what happens? You end up kind of nibbling around the edges. If you look at what the General Assembly did, for example, in 2014, they said, okay, well, you can't accept a tangible gift valued at no more than $250, but there's no limitation on intangible gifts, so you could still take trips abroad or, whatever the case might be. So that needs to change, and I'm optimistic that it will change, John. There's certainly a lot of public attention focused on this issue right now. 2 weeks ago in the Richmond Times-Dispatch, you had Tommy Normant, the majority leader in the state Senate, and Bill Howe, the Speaker of the House of Delegates, co-authored an op-ed in the Richmond Times-Dispatch pledging their support to further efforts to tighten our ethics and gift and disclosure laws. So, my hope is that there'll be a more fertile field for some of these proposals when the General Assembly convenes, and it's something that we should approach on a bipartisan basis. This isn't something that Republicans should be for and Democrats against, or Democrats for and Republicans against. I think we should all be for looking for responsible ways to strengthen these laws. And anybody that looks at what we've lived through over the course of the past year or so and says we don't have a problem is in denial. I mean, we clearly have a problem. There are clearly issues here that can be changed and need to be changed to strengthen these laws and close these loopholes. And at the end of the day, my hope is that we'll get the bipartisan cooperation that's needed out of the legislature to make some substantive progress in trying to address some of these issues and not just nibble around the edges.
Don't you think, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, that the General Assembly really owes it to citizens of the Commonwealth after what we've had to endure the past 12 months with the McDonald's and the trial and everything else and how just distasteful that whole thing was? Don't you think this General Assembly owes the people some kind of real, meaningful ethics reform that has teeth in it?
Yeah, I do, and that's why I'm optimistic that we may be able to get something done. Look, John, from the standpoint of effective governance, and that's what I hope everybody keeps their focus on. There's nothing more important to effective governance than the public's trust. And the public's trust is hard to gain and it's easy to lose. And the truth is that we have lost a portion of the public's trust over the course of the past year or so, and people are going to have to work hard to re-earn the public's trust. And I don't think that's going to be possible until everyone is willing to step up to the plate and do the things that need to be done to significantly strengthen these ethics and gift and disclosure laws and close these loopholes. I think it's going to take that as a good first step in re-earning an element of the public's trust that's been lost over the course of the past year. So I do believe that everyone involved in this process, the legislative branch, the executive branch, owes it to the public to step up to the plate and deal with these issues in a real meaningful and substantive way. But they also owe it to themselves, because doing this will enhance their ability to govern, and it'll also make it less likely that somebody else is going to get caught up in this same type of a situation in the future.
Lieutenant Governor, you served for a long time with former Governor Bob McDonnell. You knew him quite well. Were you surprised at the verdict last month?
Well, I was incredibly disappointed in the verdict. Look, I have no one in life that's a better friend or someone who I admire, respect, have enjoyed working with over the years any more than Bob McDonnell. And while I would be the first to admit that in this instance the governor made some serious mistakes and some very bad choices, for which, by the way, he's acknowledged and paid a pretty heavy price. My hope had been that the jury would look at that and say nothing in this rose to the level of criminal activity.
Right.
And I was incredibly disappointed when the jury reached a different decision. I know it's not that isn't over. There are some serious legal questions in this case that are probably going to have to be addressed by an appellate court. But the whole thing, John, has for those of us who know Governor McDonnell, it's just been a heartbreaking, gut-wrenching thing to see him and his family go through, but also terribly bad for the people of Virginia that have had to go through this and, again, lose some confidence in their elected officials along the way. So it's a very sad situation. There are no winners in this type of a situation. The governor is a dear personal friend on a personal level. I will do anything I can do to help him and his family through this tough time, but we also need to look at this objectively and learn some lessons from it.
Right.
And the truth is that although the governor and I think made some bad choices that led to this situation, I think we also have some pretty bad ethics laws in Virginia that created an environment in which something like this can occur. And we can't force people to make good decisions. I go back to that. But we can change those ethics laws to make it less likely that something like this is going to occur in the future. And while I'll continue to do everything I can do to support the governor and his family personally, from a public policy standpoint, my focus is on what can we do to strengthen these ethics laws to make it less likely that something like this can occur again somewhere down the road.
The bipartisan commission that Terry McAuliffe has put together, I mean, you look at the members on it, it is really bipartisan. You've got conservatives, liberals, Democrats, Republicans, and some people that are not involved. When this was announced, the official Republican Party of Virginia wasted no time in blasting McAuliffe for what it called his own ethical lapses. And in fact, Pat Mullins, the chairman, said if Terry McAuliffe wants to reform ethics, first he needs to reform Terry McAuliffe, etc. I was disappointed in that statement because I think, as soon as McAuliffe tried to come out with something, bang, we're politicizing it. And I think that's part of the problem. Am I wrong or on that or right?
No, you're right. I was extremely disappointed in that as well. This is not a partisan issue. It should not be viewed in partisan terms. And the last thing I think Republicans need to be doing right now is somehow attacking an effort to try to bring about some bipartisan improvement in our ethics laws. And look, there are probably a number of examples on both sides of the political aisle that one can point to say this person's done something or that person's done something in the past that they shouldn't have done. But I don't think this is the time for that type of stuff. And you said they wasted no time. The two operative words there are wasted time. I think it was just wasted time to do something like that. I think this is a situation where we need to applaud the governor for his willingness to tackle the issue and create a truly bipartisan commission to review it. It's a time when we need to thank the legislative leadership, Senator Norman and Delegate Speaker Howell, for their willingness to say they want to tackle the issue and encourage people to be working together to try to come up with some bipartisan solutions here rather than trying to make some cheap political point. And so my reaction was the same when I saw it. It was sometimes those guys down there do some things that I find truly unbelievable. This was one, but every now and then they do something that I think is on target. So I guess it's just a trade-off, I guess.
Sometimes you have to take that, I guess, with a grain of salt. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, what's in your political future in Virginia?
Well, I've really, John, I have to tell you, I've enjoyed getting back to the private sector, and focusing on growing our business, and then I'm keeping my finger in a lot of things. I'm serving on 2 or 3 different state boards and commissions, and 2 or 3 boards of 2 or 3 private sector organizations whose work I believe in. So, I'm very content right now doing that. Life is good. I almost feel guilty that I haven't missed elected office more, but to be honest with you, I haven't missed it that much at all. It's just been good to get back to the private sector. So, I'm certainly going to continue doing what I'm doing. As I've told you many times, I love public service. There are lots of ways one can make a contribution to the betterment of their country or their state or their community than just in holding an elected office. So whether I'll ever get back to an interest in elected office, it remains to be seen. But right now I'm having a really good time being in the private sector and getting back to a more normal lifestyle, and yet still trying to look for and find ways to help make Virginia a better place. So it was a great honor to serve for 22 years in elected office. I wouldn't trade that for anything, but I'm not sure it's an experience that I want to repeat anytime soon.
Would you rule out a run for governor in 2017?
No, I don't. I learned a long time ago in this business, you don't rule out, anything. You never say never, because it's a long time between now and never. But I think a lot of that depends on what goes on in our party, and what type of leaders our party is looking for. And if the Republican Party gets to a place that we're looking for a mainstream conservative leaders who can actually win elections, build the broad-based coalitions that are necessary to win elections, and then govern in a mainstream and an effective way. If we're looking for those kinds of candidates, then those are conversations that we can have. But I'm just, honestly not sure that's where our party is right now. So, we'll take a look at how things are going a couple of years from now, and see, see what the direction seems to be. But right now, again, I'm just having a really good time being in the private sector where you can actually get things done. And look, I get to have dinner at home every night with my beautiful wife of 36 years. I get time to sit on the deck and read a book. I've done more trout fishing in the last 9 months than I've done in the prior 9 years. So, I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing right now. But, we'll see. The political winds change, and it really depends on what kind of a party the Republican Party wants to be a couple of years from now, and then making an assessment for whether or not there's a place in that process for a guy like me.
Sounds like in 2017 you'll be tanned and ready to go.
Well, I don't know about tanned, and I don't know about ready to go, but
we're out of time.
We'll see.
We're out of time. We want to thank Lieutenant Governor Bill Bollings for being with us, and you can go to the Mainstream Project for more information.